Miss Tanya House and Marty McNair, the parents of Jordan McNair. How many of you have heard the unfortunate story about Jordan McNair? Okay, that's quite a few of you. So their parents are here to do a presentation to you, and ESPN will be filming. So let's give them your attention. Thank you.
Come on, bro.
Hey! How many people in the room want to go to the league? How many people go to the NBA? How many people go to the NFL? How many people go to the MLB? That's the baseball thing. All right, any soccer players in the room? Yeah. Any soccer team? There we go. All right, now, this is the interesting thing. If you do not get there, this is your first opportunity to be on ESPN today. So everybody give a round of applause for this. All right, so I'm Marty McNair. I am the founder of the Jordan McNair Foundation. And this is Tanya House. That's Jordan's mom, so she's obviously the co-founder of the Jordan McNair Foundation. So we brought our team here, and man, we're just really gonna give you guys a good piece of information. But see, let me tell you guys, one of the big things, give me a show of hands, how many people have heard of Jordan McNair? All right, how many people have ever heard of Corey String? Okay, how many people have ever heard of Amani Bell? How many people? I'm gonna keep my eye on you, all right? I got you. How many of you all have ever heard of Zach Martin Posenberg? Right. How many people have ever heard of Matthew Mangine? You guys are soccer players. Okay, great. All right, now, question. I'm gonna ask a lot of questions. Tanya, you go ahead and chill. You got anything you want to say real quick before I get started? How many people, show of hands, spoke to their parents today? Show of hands, how many people spoke to your parents today? All right, cool. All right. Now, the last time I spoke to my son, Jordan Martin McNair, was May 28th of 2018.
Do I really need this? Do y'all hear me without this? But, I mean, as long as y'all can hear me, we good, right? Okay. No, that ain't. Anyway, last time I spoke with my son Jordan, our son Jordan, was May 28th, 2018. And the conversation pretty much went like, hey son, I know practice starts tomorrow. He was a University of Maryland football player. He was a redshirt sophomore, a redshirt freshman. Practice started as a sophomore the very following day. I said, son, hey, I love you. I know practice starts tomorrow. Have a good day tomorrow. Call me later in the week. Because a lot of times when the kids get to college, y'all start calling home and all that stuff. Most boys are mom's boys. Speaking of mom's boys, you always will talk to your mom. But when it comes to dads, you kind of call us less than that. So May 28, 2018 was the last time I talked to Jordan. Tuesday, May 29th, around 7 p.m., I got a phone call and it said, Mr. McNair, this is so-and-so from the University of Maryland Campus Police Force. There's been an incident in the field. Jordan had a seizure. So at this point, I'm already out the door en route to grab Tanya. And one of the questions I kept asking myself was, it's no big deal. Basically, no big deal. So basically, it's like, okay, cool. Hey, he never been in the hospital. He was a guy that was 6'5", 300 plus pounds, a size 16 shoe, that literally had offers from every school in the SEC, Big Ten, ACC, you name it. He had hundreds of offers from different schools across the nation. So while we went hot en route, I went and grabbed Tanya, we went en route to the hospital. Basically, the conversation was like, look, let's not push the panic button. Let's kind of see what happened. Because Jordan had never been in the hospital except for the day that he was born, literally. He was always an athlete, a couple little injuries, sports injuries and things like that. But he was an athlete that may have not been at the top of his game, but he was definitely en route to what we always thought the next level. See, we got a big family because what we always thought was we was going to be watching Jordan in the NFL on the draft in 2000 and a few years at home. Me and Jordan was going to be in New York or wherever we were going to be at during that time, and the rest of the family was going to be in front of the TV. And when they said, Jordan McNair, offensive tackle, gets picked by the such and such, or such and such team. That's the way it was supposed to be. But see, when we got that call, May 29th of 2018, and when I got to the hospital, son, if you can hear me, blink my eye, blink your eyes. Son, if you can hear, squeeze my finger. Because see, the day before I was just saying, hey son, I know practice starts tomorrow. Have a good day of practice and call me later in the week. And the very following day, I'm saying, hey son, if you can hear me, squeeze my finger. Son, if you can hear me, blink your eyes. Because again, at this point, here's our son, he's in a bear suit. They were trying to cool his temperature down. And basically at this point, I had no idea, before I go, anybody know what a heat stroke is or heat-related injury? Anybody know what heat exhaustion is? Because see, we're not going to use the term heat stroke loosely today. Who's hand raised? Who knows heat exhaustion? Tell me, my man. Somebody help him out. Got it, okay. So basically, when you have heat exhaustion, right, and this is, I know it's winter time right now, and we're gonna give y'all some information, but the main thing is I want everybody to know, because keep in mind, this can happen to anybody. Heat exhaustion is when your core body temperature gets above a certain degree. And what I mean by that is, guess what, if we're outside and we're doing repeat sprints, whether it's the soccer field, whether it's the lacrosse field, whether it's basketball outside, whether we're doing any type of training on the football field, all these types of things can happen. A heat-related injury can happen. Now, the interesting thing is, when you have a heat stroke, what that means in layman's terms, and the way I understood it was, when your core body temperature goes above 104 degrees, that's the equivalent of your body being in a microwave oven. So somebody tells me, when you put something in a microwave oven, the main purpose of it is to do what? What? Somebody else tell me. Not heat it up, I'm looking for something else. To cook it. So when your core body temperature goes above 104 degrees, that's the equivalent of your body, all your organs start to cook. You have a very, very small window of time, maybe 20 to 30 minutes, to cool this core temperature down. So obviously if that happens to any of you all, you can wind up going home to your family that night. So when I walked in the hospital, Jordan was in a bear suit. We walked in the hospital, Jordan was in a bear suit. And they were trying to cool his core body temperature down. Still not really knowing what really happened, right? So that next night, me and Tanya spent the night in the hospital. The next day, the doctors came to us, the emergency room doctors said, hey, you know what? We're making the decision to airlift Jordan to the University of Maryland Shock Trauma Unit. So as they airlifted Jordan to the University of Shock Trauma Medical Center, our very first conversation with one of the doctors there basically said, Mr. Wilson, he wasn't married at the time. Mom and Dad, basically, your son is very sick. And we're saying, what do you mean he's very sick? This is Wednesday, right? So now, let's fast forward to Friday. Because see, the conversation Friday said, guess what, Mr. Mom and Dad, if you all will make a decision right now for an emergency liver transplant, Jordan will be dead within 12 hours. Listen to what I just said. If you all do not make a decision right now to do an emergency liver transplant, he will be dead within 12 hours. This is Friday morning. Now, can you imagine, Mom and Dad, we're asking ourselves, what the heck just happened between today and Tuesday? See, because the doctor also said that 85% of Jordan's liver was necrosis. And if we didn't make a decision, that's why he would be dead in 12 hours if we didn't make a decision to do this emergency liver transplant. Anybody know the significance of the liver? The liver has over 300 functions. It does all your filtering of everything that comes through your system. The liver is just as equally as important as your heart. But again, before we start talking about that, somebody tell me what happened between Tuesday morning and Friday morning. Same question we was asking ourselves. We didn't know. But at this point, here we are where I told you that core body temperature, when you're in that microwave oven, you're cooking. And you have a short window of time to cool that body down, and that wasn't what the case was in our case. So if you miss 30 minutes, the damage is irreparable. Liver transplants, organ failure, kidney dialysis machines, so many different things that can happen if you miss that window for core body temperature down. So we got this liver transplant. You see, the interesting thing about a liver transplant is it's not like you put a battery in a remote control, when you put a battery in a radio once the battery goes dead. You think that, hey, you know what, a new liver transplant, and everything is going to be all right, the rest of the body works. But so much damage was done that day because that window of opportunity was I backed up. Anybody know what the term necrosis means? That means your liver is dead. So imagine, here's a healthy guy Tuesday morning, and here we are with 85% of your liver being dead Friday morning. That's a tough thing to imagine. So you can imagine how tough it was for us as parents. So we get this liver transplant. And the interesting thing about a liver transplant, and I'm going to take everybody and give you a little bit of information. 5,000 people die per year waiting on a new liver, a liver transplant. And here was a guy that was 6'5", 300 plus pounds, a size 16 shoe, with hundreds of offers from all these colleges across the nation. And he was healthy as a horse. And again, how could this possibly happen to him? See, because one of the main things was, after the liver transplant, semi-successful, however, there was so much other damage done, that God decided to make a decision to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to bring Jordan with me. And as a parent, that's one of the most challenging decisions, and I hope nobody in this room would ever have to experience that. And I want you all to take something away from this today. Because see, June 13th is when we disconnected Jordan from the life support system, or all the life support machines. He literally was hooked up to everything. Kidney machine, lung machine, kidney dialysis. They had an ECMO machine for your lungs. They had a liver machine. You had this machine, that machine. All the machines were doing everything. The liver transplant, unfortunately, was the equivalent of, obviously, it just wasn't enough. Because too much damage had already been done. So what we decided to do was, June 13th, 2018 is when Jordan passed. And then what we decided to do was like, you know what, we kept, Tanya and I kept asking ourselves, what did we miss? What did we miss while Jordan was in the recruiting phase? What questions didn't we ask the coaches? What did we do this? And one most important thing, we had no idea of any statistics or anything about all of the kids that had passed before Jordan. Jordan wasn't the first. He may have been number 30, number 31 in the NCAA alone. He fell under predictable statistics. Predictable statistics meant that there was going to be an average of 2 to 3 linemen that would die every year in the NCAA. An average of 2 to 3 linemen. So what we decided to do was, because we kept asking ourselves all these questions, and once we started to learn really what was going on with Jordan, or what had happened to Jordan, what had happened, we started to ask ourselves, if we don't know these things, how many other parents in America don't know these things? Because see, I had always raised a coachable athlete. Jordan played sports from the time that he was 5 to 7 years old. Flag football, baseball, basketball. He wound up playing football at 13. He played flag football early on, but he didn't put pads back on until he was 13. And the good thing about that, he had the height, he had the size, and where he may have been the slowest guy on the basketball court, but he was quick on the line. Didn't know anything about football, but he came in at the right time. But all these things in consideration, because when Jordan passed, one of the things for us was, if we don't know these things, how many other parents in America don't know these things? But also, if we don't get in front of this, man, the grief of losing our only child will eat us up. You see, a lot of times I understand when y'all are the age, you shouldn't even have to worry about that. But I guarantee you, your parents would suffer. And it's most devastating to lose a child, but not only lose a child to any act of violence, but to a preventable injury. That's where it even stings a little bit more. So as we got into the advocacy aspect of this, and one of the main things that we wanted to do was, we wanted to prevent another family from experiencing the pain of losing a child to a preventable injury. So what we realized was Jordan had a heat stroke, right? Okay, these things happen consistently. Not to mention, not at the college level, but also at you all's level. See, I asked some questions about, did you know those names earlier, because all of those are young people that have died already over the last couple of years, from heat-related injuries, cardiac arrest, all of the things that can happen to you all on the very first day of practice, or the very first day of conditioning drills, and all these things. Because everybody I talked about just now, those names that I mentioned, all of those were the different sports that a young person has passed since Jordan passed. Where the female basketball players at again? Amani Bell was a young lady named 16 years old, Atlanta, Georgia, 2019. They were out conditioning
the summertime. They were running the bleachers and everything like that. Unfortunately, she had overheated, had a heat-related injury and passed right there. Zach Martin, what football player is that? Zach Martin Rosenberg, young man in Florida, 2017, same size as Jordan, heat stroke, very first day, or heat-related injury, very first day of practice. Unfortunately, they weren't prepared. Somebody else that I mentioned, Matthew McNair Jr., soccer players right here. Soccer players, where you at? Matthew McNair Jr., he died in 2020 in Kentucky. Had a cardiac arrest first day of practice. Proper safety equipment wasn't on the field that day. So these are all things that realistically happen to athletes. That's why I get so excited when I see groups of every athlete in the school, because again, these things affect us all. And the interesting thing, everybody, is we talk about, I deal with, this is what we do. We are very, very adamant about student athlete safety. And one of the things that I walked away from when Jordan passed was, we did not teach him. Because see, I always told him, be a leader, never be a follower, always stand up for yourself, don't be afraid to fight for yourself if you gotta fight. All these different things that I thought I taught him. However, but when Jordan passed, I kept beating myself up as a father because it was like, what didn't I teach him? What did I miss? And one of the things that I realized what I didn't teach Jordan was, I didn't teach Jordan to listen to his body early on. So when your body tells you to stop, everybody in the room, stop. See, I didn't teach Jordan to advocate for himself. And what I mean by that is when I'm talking about self-advocacy, I mean everybody in the room. Guess what? If it don't taste right, smell right, feel right, don't do it. But how many of us in here can honestly show our hands and say we'll do that for ourselves? Yep. Smell right. Because see, you all are in a community. I understand. I've been in high school. I understand where you are right now. You're trying to find who your identity is. And usually in these type of communities, and especially, how many show of hands, how many people want to go to college? Any seniors in the room that are going? Okay. Oh, what school you going to? Oh, where you go? Somebody else. What other seniors doing? Where? This is the only lady in the room that's going to college. Yes, ma'am. South Carolina State. Anybody? Yes, ma'am.
North Carolina A&T.
Okay. Alabama State. All right. Anybody else? Fellas up there that seem preoccupied. My man in the red hood. Yo. You. Yeah. Next to you. The one that got his head down. What school you going to, champ? What grade you in? I ain't hear you. In the red, you in the 9th grade? All right, so I need y'all's attention. So the point that I'm making is, everybody, especially you seniors that's on your way to college, this is a community, and this is going to be the same way when you get to college. You're going to have a 3-tier system. You're going to have all your winners up here, especially if you play the type of sports. You're going to have your winners right here. You're going to have us middle group of kids, right? And those of us that might be freshmen, we just coming in. And then we're going to have the cool kids at the bottom, right? And the cool kids seem like they got it going on right now. They the ones that's going to be partying, red cups, whatever the case may be, if they smoking weed or whatever the case may be. And we're going to be in the middle. Some of y'all going to be in the middle. Some of y'all going to be followers. Some of y'all going to go with them up there, but I guarantee you the majority of y'all will go with them down there. So that's why it's so important right now that you learn how to advocate for yourself. Because see, all of you all are at an age where I just said, it don't smell right, taste right, and look right, you don't have to do it. But the thing is, when it comes to sports, I'm be your prime example. Did the game of football stop because Jordan passed on a sports-related injury? No. Did soccer stop because Matthew McNair died from a preventable sports-related injury? No. Did girls basketball stop because Monty Bell died from a heat-related injury? No. I should tell you something right there. How about you to the game? Let me tell you, young people, and this is an interesting thing. I know a lot of times, how many people really think they can get to the next level? You got a skill set right now. Okay. Any 4 or 5 stars athletes in Philly? Football players, 3 5-star, 3 5, what's star? 3-star. Anybody else? We got one ranked person and all y'all talking about y'all gonna get to the league? How? And this is the reason why. Because guess what? If you're lucky enough to get to a big school or scholarship or whatever, everybody there is ranked 3, 4, 5-star. So what's going to make you any different? Anybody know the percentages of young people or college players that get to the NFL or the NBA? 1 for the NBA, 2 for the NFL. So basically what that means is that ain't but 2 people in this entire room going to make it to a professional level. Anybody want to, so everybody say they're going to go to the NBA, NFL, blah, 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 all these different things. Okay, cool. I'm going to tell you how to get there and stay there. Hey, wait, hold on. Anybody know the length of time that you stay in these professional sports, especially football? How long you guys stay to get what we call a cup of coffee? How long you guys stay to get a picture? Five. You know the average amount of time that people stay? 3. Not even long enough to get a pension for the rest of their life. However, the smart thing is get an education while you can and let sports become a tool. Use sports as a tool, everybody. Use sports as a tool, and what I mean by that, use it if you can get a free education, get a free education. Anybody know what an athletic trainer is? Got it. All right. Anybody know how to stay in the NFL or NBA longer for the duration? Become an athletic trainer. You ain't got to worry about getting hurt. You can exceed the 3 to 5 year term, the whole 9. That's the smart way. But again, fam, young people, this is the main thing. I want you all really to listen to the information that we have, because again, guess what? Jordan was the same guy that was sitting in your seat. Amani Bell was the same person sitting in your seat. But the main thing is you have to advocate for yourself. Because see, this is what it looks like. I'm sure all of us who play AAU sports in here. See, as a parent, I can run out on the field and say this to the coach: "You ain't playing my son. He ain't doing this. He ain't getting enough time." Those are things that parents think about. Can you play in 100? However, it's a long list of questions we should be asking long before you even worry about those things. You should be asking a ton of safety. And the interesting thing is, I got an extensive medical advisory board. This is the work that we do. We have some national recognition. And all we talk about is student athlete safety, student athlete safety, student athlete safety. But we never talk to you all about your safety. Now, the state of Maryland, I'm going to bring another member of our team, Wes, on real quick, Wes Robinson on. But has anybody ever known or look out on the field and see safety equipment? It's a law now, so if you haven't seen it, I guarantee you will see it. This one, that's not sure to see it. Right? Exactly. Does anybody even know what that's there for? Show of hands. Anybody know what the safety equipment on the field is there? To who? The athletes. What's your name? Baby. Can you repeat that? Come down here, baby. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, baby. Give baby a round of applause, everybody. Again. I want you to hear this from me. So, what's the purpose of all of the safety equipment on the field?
To be prepared if anything happens to the athlete.
Got it. But do we know what that looks like?
No.
Got it. Everybody, Mr. Wes Robinson,